Secular humanists and evolutionists revel in the idea that human languages evolved independently and that words are meaningless, originating from the arbitrary grunts of cavemen. But the work, The Origin of the Species, Intelligent Design in Language by Isaac Moseson demonstrates the truth of monogenesis, that there is one ultimate origin for all languages, and that origin is Hebrew, the true mother tongue, the language with which God created and continues to sustain the universe, which Adam Harishon spoke in the Garden of Eden, in which the Torah was given, the language of tefillah, of prayer, and in which all mankind conversed until the time of the Migdal Bavel, the Tower of Babel. As the Torah says, Vayehi chol ha'oretz sofa achas udvorim achodim. The entire earth was of one language and of uniform words. And the words in the Posuk Safa Achas, one language, has the same gematria as the words Loshen HaKodesh, says the Baal HaTurim. Moseson holds that a Proto-Semitic language, which he calls Edenics, not to be compared with the word Eubonics of the American Afro-Caribbeans, Mon, Edenics versus Eubonics, and that it has been hardwired into all the world's languages, and despite the dyslexic metathesis, the mixing and reordering of word roots at the time of the Tower of Babel and the confusion of the languages, all human beings to this day still subconsciously think in a form of primordial Hebrew. The now extinct languages of Indo-Aryan, Akkadian, Hittite, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, Gothic, Ancient Egyptian, Mayan, Etruscan, etc., can all be shown to be a drastic devolution from Hebrew's uniquely profound yet divinely logical built-in system of modular and reversible two-letter roots, permutations, synonyms, antonyms, and etymons. Only after understanding the dynamics of pure biblical Hebrew, not the vulgarized, profane Strassenivrit, street Hebrew, taught in the Israeli ulpans. As the Satmar Rebbe said, quote, better for a Jew to shmad, it is better for a Jew to apostatize than to learn Hebrew in a secular, Chiloni, Israeli state ulpan. And one can see and understand the common denominator of every one of today's languages, from Basque, Swahili, Serbo-Croat, Urdu and Romanian, to Latvian, Cantonese, Spanish, Khmer and Hawaiian. English is one of the richest languages in the world, precisely because it is not pure. As the American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, English is a sea which receives tributaries from every tongue under heaven. English is based on Saxon, Latin, Greek, Norse, Old French, Old German, and of course Hebrew. As Rav Chaim Zimmerman said, English is unique even for expressing Torah ideas. There are some areas of Torah which can be better expressed in English, even better than in Hebrew, said Rav Chaim Zimmerman. A few examples from English and its connections with Hebrew. Aberration, Avera. Abbot, Avot. Albino, Halbona. Ador, Hadar. Agony, Yagon. Amity, Amit. Antique, Atik. Ash, Aish. Ashame, Asham. Asinine, Ason. Baby, Bubba. Bad, Badut. Bazooka, Bazak. Berry, Pri. Bicker, Biker. Bone, Bonnet. butcher, basar, buzzard, buz, cable, kevel, call, kol, carve, cherev, chased, chassid, checkmate, shechmate, colossus, golius, cleaver, chaluf, corn, goren, cosmos, gashmius, couple, kofel, kurt, korut, Tsar, Caesar and Kaiser come from the Hebrew Keser. None of this is my own idea. Dagger, Dakar. Decay, Dichi. Direction, Derech. Earth, Eretz. Elect, Likut. Exit, Chutz. Evil, Evil. Finickety, Fanak. Fraction, Ferek. Gaul, Gaal. Good, Gad. Grain, Garin. Grash, Geresh. Groan, Garon. Harm, Charma. Havoc, Hefech. Here, Hooray. Heresy, Cherus. Honig, Onig. Idea, Dea. If, Uf. Is, Yesh. Jackal, Shachal. Kill, Kilkel. Kots, Kots. Lad, Yeled. Love, Lave. Luna, the moon, Lavona. Machine, Mochona. Maim, Mum. Mass, Massa. Mirror, Mare. Muck, Mac. Mystery, Mestar. Now, Na. Occur, Kara. Ogre, Og. Packet, Pakat. Part, Prat. Pirate, Poretz. Pizzazz, Pizzazz. Preach, Poresh. Prostitute, Pritzut. Like that. Psoriasis, Psoras. Python, Peten. Ravenous, Ra'av. Reek, Reach. Regular, Ragil. Rhapsody, Rhapsoda. Riches, Rechush. Rubbish, Refesh. Scale, Shkal. Scar, Sakar. Secure, Sagur. Surf, Suraf. Shade, that's demon, shed. Shriek, Shrika. Sick, Sick. Sir, Sar. Smut, Shemetz. Sodium, Sodom. Sorrow, Tsoro. Sauce, Shoresh. Sparrow, Tsipora. Stem, Stum. Succubus, that's a female demon, Shocheves. Suffice, Sufik. Sycamore, Shikma. Tactic, Daktek. Tap, Toth. Technic, Tikkun. Ululate, Yolola. Use, Ase. Wine, Yayin. Yel, Yalal. Young, Yonek. Zodiac, Tzedek. Zygote, Zebuk. For more on this subject, see Isaac Moseson's book, The Word, the Dictionary that Reveals the Hebrew Source of English, and Rab Matisyahu Glazerson's book, Hebrew Source of All Languages. Indeed, every single word in every single language can be shown in ultimo to be derived from Hebrew. The Arizal states that the nature of a person or object can be found by analyzing his or its name. Previous generations were able to bestow names by Ruach HaKodesh. As the Yalkut says, quote, if they had merited it, Hashem himself would have called each person by the name that would have indicated his nature and destiny. Once one realizes the basic unity of all languages, then even apparently arbitrary names become full of import, as the Gemara says in Brochas. It is Hashem who places names in the world. Kashmo Kain Hu. A man is according to his name, and Rab Glazerson says even in foreign languages. As is well known, prior to birth, the embryo is taught the entire Torah in Hebrew, but is caused to forget it, the Gemara says in Nida. This primordial subliminal memory can sometimes resurface. There are cases related of babes emerging from the womb uttering Hebrew, for example, the Novi Yirmiyah, and even of stranded Gentile non-Jewish children totally devoid of any education being found, shipwrecked, and speaking a natural Hebrew. As Rab Mosesson says, Men may speak different tongues, but they all think in Hebrew. The Torah was given in 70 languages, including Latin, and expounded by Moshe in 70 languages, says the Midrash. The Kabbalists explain how speaking Torah in a foreign language can spiritually elevate that language. As the Midrash in Esther says, there are 4 special languages: Greek for song, Persian for lamenting, Hebrew for conversation, and Latin for war. It says in the Torah, and Yaakov said to his kinsmen, in Bereshit 31, gather stones, and they took stones and made a pile, and there they ate by the pile. And Lavan called that monument Yagar Sahadusa, and Yaakov called it Gal Eid. Bereshit 31. The words Yagar Sahadusa given by Lavan is Aramaic, not Hebrew. And on these words, Yagar Sahadusa, Rav Herschel of Krakow interpolated this with the famous phrase from the Torah, which we recite in the Haggadah on Pesach, Arami Oved Avi, normally translated as an Aramaean tried to destroy our ancestor, our father Yaakov. But he read it as Arami Oved Avi, Aramaic. The Aramaic language destroyed my father and forced him to go down to Egypt, i.e., that for Yaakov Avinu, inadvertently enabling Lavan's Aramaic words to enter the Torah, he and his descendants had to be exiled to Egypt. Other Aramaic or part Aramaic words in the Torah, that's in the Chumash, include the words Kiryat Arba, Kiryat is an Aramaic word, Ben Oni, the name given by Rochel to Binyamin, it's Aramaic, Alma, a young maiden, Aramaic, Pelegesh, Aramaic, Truma, Aramaic, and the word Vayahi, also Aramaic. See the book Loshen HaKodesh, History, Holiness and Hebrew by Rabbi Reuven Chaim Klein. Some hold that Loshen HaKodesh and Aramaic are one language. Others that Aramaic is a corrupt derivative from Loshen HaKodesh, like Arabic and Greek. Others that it is to be considered as a different language entirely. Odom Arishon spoke Aramaic, says the Gemara. Some saying that he only used it for mundane matters. Others that he only spoke Aramaic after the Chet, after his sin. Others that he spoke it only before the Chet, before the sin, and afterwards only used Loshen HaKodesh. There is a theory that it is Aramaic rather than Hebrew that is the naturally inherent, instinctively ingrained languages that is wired into the language center in the brains of all human beings. The Maharal holds that Aramaic is not specific to any one nation and it is a universal language. Compare this to Esperanto, which is an attempt 150 years ago by the Polish Jewish linguist Ludwig Zamenhof to devise a universal world language, Esperanto. Like Hebrew, Aramaic is not counted amongst the 70 tongues. The infamous Australian film star and producer Mel Gibson made a movie in 2004 in English about the alleged dramatic end of the individual known as Jesus, Yeshu HaNotzri, also known as Yoshki, Yenem, Oso Ha'ish, and the Nazarene. He then, Mel Gibson, proceeded to immediately make a second version, reshooting the entire film with the same actors, but with an Aramaic-only dialogue. In the interests of authenticity, he said, in quotes, being advised by university Assyriologists, professors of Semitic languages, and even Rabbonim. Although, quote, one should not offer personal prayers in Aramaic, as it is not understood by the Malachim, the angels do not understand Aramaic, says the Gemara. It also says, do not look lightly on Aramaic, as all 3 parts of the Tanakh contain Aramaic. Aramaic was the lingua franca of the ancient world, but today Neo-Aramaic is only spoken by about 1 million people in the Middle East, and it is expected to become extinct in a generation. Yet the Maharal states that Aramaic, represents the world to come, and it will be interesting to see the status of this most ancient of languages in the Messianic age. Quote from Rab Shraga Feivel, if a man's mother tongue is English, like us, teach him in English. To reach one's disciples, one must address them in their own language, their neshama loshen. Quote from Rab Nachman of Breslov, one of the sufferings of the soul of the Mashiach that he undergoes is when Hebrew books are translated into other languages. As they say in Latin, tradutore traditore, a translator is a traitor. In time to come, Hebrew will again become the mamaloshen of all mankind, as it says in Tzfanya, Ki az epoch el amim sofa barura likro kulam b'shem Hashem la'ovdo shacham safas echas. For then I will convert the peoples to a pure language, that all of them may call in the name of the Lord to worship him of one accord.